Yay! Right in the same
Is this thing on?
pitch. Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Well, I was just telling Ethan before we went to air that like when we do a show and it's just the two of us, we don't need to have headphones in.
Right.
But for some weird reason, I feel super naked without the headphones in, and I feel like you guys can't hear me without my headphones in. It's totally unrelated, but
I hope they can hear us. Yeah, we have no way. It's weird without the headphones in, without a guest, because tonight's episode is going to be a viewer mail and inspiration episode, one of our favorite things to do.
Yes.
But without the headphones in, something feels off, right?
Yeah.
Without the Skype call and without a guest waiting in the wings. Welcome, everyone, to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 266. As I mentioned, it is a viewer mail and inspiration episode, and we have a lot of emails that came in with stories and inspiration and overcoming things in life, running and just sort of seeing people crush their goals and use running to help them get through stuff. A lot of stories to share tonight. We may not be able to get through all of them. I'm going to do my best to do that. So sit back, relax, grab your beverage of choice. And enjoy. Here we go. Ginger Runner Live, episode number 266. It begins now.
Ginger Runner.
Yay! No.
Yay!
Yeah, there it is. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Ginger Runner Live, episode number 266. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy Mondays to spend a little bit of it with us. As we were mentioning there in the pre-show, we don't have headphones in. We don't have our regular setup going because we don't have a guest tonight because we are doing a viewer mail and inspiration episode. We like to do these often.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite things, and we actually haven't done one since March, which is a while.
Yeah, that's what you were saying today. We always feel like, oh, we need to do this every month. And then we just get overwhelmed with the number of awesome guests that we want to bring on the show. And since we do this once a week, before we know it,
months have
passed. And we're like, well, let's do a viewer mail and inspiration episode. And we go back through our emails and see that people have been submitting these in the background the entire time. So we have some stories that we're going to read from months ago that were not able to be read on the last episode, plus what happened in between since the last viewer mail episode. Plus, we did a little call for recent stories today, and we got an influx of amazing people sharing their stories today. So we're going to try to do our best to get through as many of these as possible today, which I'm excited about. One thing that we always like to do on these episodes as well is answer questions. So if you have any questions throughout the episode, Kim?
Yeah, you guys, the chat room is live and well. So if you guys have questions or comments for either of us, you can pop them into the chat room. Or if we have a very, something to contribute to the stories we're reading, or if you have a very short story for yourself that you didn't already submit via email, you can also type that into the chat room as well.
Yeah, and we've also gotten a lot of just interesting questions regarding whether it's something in our running life or just running in general, and we're happy to answer those as well. So jump into the live chat room, join Kim. The question is good or the story is good, we'll definitely read it during tonight's episode.
People are already talking about Andrew's epic wipeout this weekend. Mandy and Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Mandy. It might have been Andrew that posted in the Patreon Facebook page the aftermath. Looked like there was dirt everywhere.
Wait, did I miss this?
It was posted this afternoon, so you may have missed it.
So one of our
apparently
viewers,
Andrew is fine. But
one of our regular supporters and viewers, Andrew, had a crash, like a trail crash.
Yeah, a little bit of a trail crash. Yeah.
All right, making sure that that's the extent. That is the extent of it. Okay, yeah. There's a picture in the Facebook group. He's covered in dirt. Andrew, get better or get well. Heal up. So stories like that, we're happy to entertain those for sure. Yeah. All right. As always with these episodes, we like to just get right into it. Before we do, we have individuals that we like to thank at the top of every episode of Ginger Runner Live. Those are our Patreon supporters. They are the reason that we're able to do these live shows week after week. We're now 266 episodes into this thing, which is over 5 years of doing live broadcasts every single Monday, whether it's a Monday or sometimes Tuesdays. Last week we did a Tuesday because we were traveling with Western states and stuff. But it's because of our Patreon supporters at all levels that we're able to do this full time. Ginger Runner Live, reviews, films, races, everything. So big shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers. 3 individuals in particular at that top tier are the real core and heart of all of it. Definitely helping us out in a major way. Brian Sands has been a longtime supporter, longtime viewer. He may even be in the audience tonight. He's often in our live viewing audience.
He is fresh off trail camp. I don't know if he's home yet.
You're absolutely right.
He might be home.
He was at altitude this weekend at the Trail Running Magazine trail camp with David and Megan Roach, which was looked amazing.
Yeah.
But Brian has been a longtime supporter. He has an incredible journey, lost over 100 pounds, trained for his first marathon, trained for his first 50K, and now is currently training for his first 50 miler. Just a really inspiring dude. Really, really happy to know him. Rick Bjarnason and his team at cheekymonkeymedia.ca. They're a web design company. They redid the gingerrunner.com website. Rick, I need to get the update from him because it is Monday, and I believe this last weekend ran Sinister 7. We're going to find out if he was able to get it done or what happened with the race. I realize that as I'm saying his name.
Was it this last weekend?
It was. So Sinister 7 is this really tough Canadian trail race, but Rick is not only a web designer and his company is amazing, but he is also an ultra runner, and it's great to have him on board at that top tier as well. And finally, Chris Lee in Hong Kong. Chris has this organization called Trailblazer. They showcase all of the amazing local trails that Hong Kong has to offer. So if you find yourself there on vacation, or you're going to go do a race overseas, or you just find yourself in that area, reach out to Chris and his team at Trailblazer. They will be happy to help and guide you on running and finding the best trails in the Hong Kong area. So big shout out to those 3 individuals. Are you looking up the results?
Yes.
Do we have a finish time?
We do.
That's all I cared about. Rick, congratulations. We're literally learning about this live right now, but I'm going to have a chance to talk with Rick Bjarnason here in the next couple of weeks. We're going to find out more details, maybe even bring him on the show, because he used Tiger Claw to train for it. He's been training his ass off for years to get this race done. He wasn't able to finish it last year. Just to see a finish time, that's all I care about.
Yes.
So congratulations, Rick. We'll just start off the show with a little bit of love and inspiration right there. We'll find out more later. Okay, so let's dive right into this thing. We, again, have a number of stories. We like to do these episodes as regularly as possible because it highlights your stories, our viewer stories, people who are just like us, running on weekends and during the week, training for big events and trying to tackle our big goals, setting goals for ourselves and challenges and the like. It's not all, the stories about the elites at the front of the pack. There are as many stories, if not more, behind those podium finishers. And those are the stories we like to talk about a lot on these viewer inspiration episodes. So let's just dive right into it. Again, if you have questions, drop into the chat room. Kim will pull those aside. We're going to start with this story from Zach. And I'm going to do my best to read some of these emails because sometimes, for some reason, my Gmail likes to shrink the font down. In this case, it's quite small.
Do you want me to make it smaller for you?
If you could just make, if you can make this font real small, go down to a 6-point font, that'd be great. And sometimes the font is very large and it overtakes my screen. Are you okay?
I don't know if I'm enjoying this beer.
Here, swap.
No.
No, this is guaranteed good.
No, I'm good because that is the last one of those in this house, and I think you should enjoy it.
It is. No, I don't.
No, I partook.
I enjoy that.
I partook in the. Moving on.
This is. We're arguing over who drinks what beer. I'm drinking. Well, they're both Radlers. Mine's an American Radler, and it's just a grapefruit Radler. I really like mine.
No, yours is really good.
All right. The story comes to us from Zach. Ethan and Kim, I feel the need to thank you for the positive influence your films and the GR community has had on me. I began running 9 months ago when I learned I was going to be a father as a way to encourage myself to quit smoking and be a better role model after smoking a pack a day for 6 years. I have now been tobacco-free for 7 months, and my daughter Sadie is almost 4 months old. She's happy and healthy. I discovered your channel when I was running on the treadmill this winter and looking for something motivational to watch on YouTube as I ran. I landed on Where Dreams Go to Die, and it helped shape my dreams and aspirations as a runner. I was only planning on doing a short 30-minute run that day, but ended up running almost 3 times that as I watched the entire movie and shed a few tears. Ever since that day, I have wanted to be an ultra runner. I have watched all of your films and continue to watch your reviews and GR Live, all of which help me identify as a runner. When I began running last August, I did a 1-mile time trial in 8 minutes 17 seconds and nearly collapsed. The last weekend, I completed my first half marathon in 1:26:28 on a hilly course.
Wow.
I ran a few 5K sharpening races leading up to it, dropping a 17:49 in one of them. Come on now. I just wanted to thank you for all of the encouragement and guidance you and the positive community you've cultivated have provided. Winning might not be everything, but to me, competition is. Whether I'm competing against others or just myself, that's when I'm at my best. I'm trying to balance my training with being a good father and working full time. Luckily, my fiance Tara is relentlessly positive and supportive of my dreams. Tara has seen how much running has helped me become a better person in all aspects of my life and recently began walk a mile or two twice a week. So I'm very excited to continue to share this part of my life with her. I'm now training for my first trail 50K this fall, and I'm planning on returning to the roads next spring for my first full marathon in an attempt to qualify for Boston. I know a lot of others look to your channel, podcast, and community for guidance, so feel free to share my story with anyone who needs a reminder that it's never too late to be the best version of themselves. If I can go from a hard partying chain smoker to a decently fast runner in less than a year, then I don't think anybody is too far gone. If you ever find yourself in the Lansing area, I would love to go for a run and or buy you a drink as a thank you. Full disclosure, I wrestled for Michigan State in college, so my experience as an elite athlete likely helps me deal with the training both mentally and physically, but I have never been a runner by any means. My wrestling career ended rather abruptly in 2010 with my 5th shoulder surgery, and I spent the next few years feeling sorry for myself and didn't work out at all until I began running. Thank you for everything. Sincerely, Zach. Congratulations, Zach. You are dropping times that would make me jealous. That's amazing. That's a damn great place to start.
And I think it's even more incredible to like drop the habit of the old, unhealthier lifestyle. Like I think there's a lot of people in our community that come from an ex-smoking background or something like that. And it's very hard to close that door on that chapter and be like, hey, I'm going to do better for myself and I'm going to do better for my family and my new kid and all that other kind of stuff. So I think that's an incredible part of the story too.
Yeah. And Zach, I love the message just pointing to the fact that it's never too late. It's never too late for anyone to sort of change a habit. If you feel like you have a bad habit, it's never too late to change that or to just bring running in, to pick a challenge or pick a goal for yourself. It's never too late. Never, ever. And we preach that on this show often because a lot of our guests are of all varying ages, shapes, sizes, histories with athletics, all sorts. And they all have one thing in common, and that's running has helped in some degree or some capacity. So we love highlighting stories like that. And I think that's a fantastic place to start tonight's episode. Moving on. This one comes to us from Annette. One for the ladies. Sorry. I don't know if you want to read it.
No, you can read.
I apologize for
the font is much too large for me to read.
Okay, so this one says one for the ladies. Sorry, in parentheses. I discovered running in 2007 when one day watching a marathon on the TV, although I have had no desire to run a marathon after discovering your channel in 2006, that just watching people take on ultras was so much more interesting, especially on trails. I have always run since that first day in 2007, apart from in 2011, I was diagnosed, won't say, it's a bit gross, and had to undergo a total hysterectomy at only 38 years old. I slowly recovered, and after using the Couch to 5K app, slowly got back to a very slow but comfortable jog in late 2012. Unfortunately, life then had very nasty downs. 2 of my best friends died suddenly, and then I lost my job. After starting a new full-time job as well as taking on a role in our family business, my running virtually ground to a halt, with a few attempts each month, which came to nothing. My twin daughters attended university away from home in late 2015, so being fairly sad, I came across your channel and have been hooked ever since. Also, I always had the wrong attitude towards training. I was a typical go hard or go home type. Each run was a gasping, heart-bursting ordeal, and when I look back now, I don't think I actually enjoyed any of it. Even leading up to a race, I would bust a gut even the day before the race. So wrong, I know. With my daughters now graduated and in great jobs, one daughter decided to start another Couch to 5K with me. After rethinking and re-educating myself with the need for a solid base of fitness, ignoring non-runners' advice and listening to my body, I can now say I can run around 40 minutes. This time, I walk hills if they are too steep. I take into account how I'm feeling. I don't wear a GPS watch for the pace, but just the heart rate. Ignore Strava, and just enjoy the fresh air and feeling great. My cardio fitness has improved massively. I've also realized that, yes, I can do a full day's work and go for a run. After watching your videos and listening to the podcast, I finally listened to my body and love running so much. We bounce around the streets and countryside in our Hokas like happy little bunnies. Thank you for your amazing channel, films, and music. P.S. Congratulations on your success with the Run Tiger Claw. Can't wait to see the film about it. Annette. Obviously, this was sent before that,
Right.
but I loved reading this just because, again, it proves it doesn't matter what background you come from. It doesn't matter how old you are, what you've been through. Sometimes running can just sort of take you in a place that you need to go.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Annette, for sharing your story. Absolutely fantastic. What's going on in the chat room?
People are just chatting. People are just chatting.
Is that
Gypsy Hiker Monica says, would love to see some of these ginger heroes on video.
Mm.
We've done some we have done some Skype type interviews with some of our Patreon peeps too.
Yeah, I do have some photos and stuff like that I'll get to with some of these stories, some shared photos, which is always really great for visual. But I totally agree. I was actually thinking about that today, is potentially for the next viewer mail and inspiration episode, is we can get people submit videos. I would love to show them. I just thought that maybe that would be a cool segment to do for future episodes or something. So I agree. I would love to see people talk to a camera, whether it's on their cell phone or GoPro or something, and tell me their story, tell me whatever it is that they just accomplished, or maybe they're at the finish line and I just ran my first half, or that sort of thing.
I just want to pull just a couple quick things before we move on, just from the Patreon crew corner on Facebook. Why was that so hard for me to say? I think because that wasn't really what I wanted to say. Anyway, every week, if you guys are in the Patreon group on Facebook, I always ask kind of on Friday, see what you guys are all up to on the weekend. And then Monday, we kind of do like a tell me what you did this weekend type of post. I just want to call out a couple people that posted in there this weekend. We have Chuck Hall, Lori Hall, and Lauren, their daughter Lauren, who did something really neat. They ran an aid station for Silver Heels 100 in the Colorado mountains. And Chuck says in this comment, it was an epic experience. It was really fun to kind of look at their pictures and their whole setup. And I think Chuck mentioned on a different post that they kind of learned a lot about running an aid station, but it just looked like a really cool event. And then one more person, just quickly before you move on here, is Quinn Weber. And Quinn said, I did a long run in the Blood Mountain Wilderness in northern Georgia. When I moved here from California, I was worried there wasn't going to be mountains to run in. Boy, was I wrong. These mountains are aggressive and freaking beautiful. And if you guys are in the Patreon group, Quinn posted a really cool picture, and it's gorgeous.
Super green, super lush.
And that kind of leads me to what we got up to this weekend, too, is kind of exploring more in your backyard, going somewhere that maybe you haven't gone before. We did that yesterday. And yeah, you never know what you're going to find.
Yeah, I was hoping we would talk a little bit about that on tonight's episode. Living in the Northwest and living in Washington and living in Seattle, even more specifically, we're very lucky. We have a lot of backcountry to explore. And, within an hour's drive, you're at countless trailheads or goat paths up to the tops of peaks and stuff. So we're very, very fortunate. But it doesn't matter where you live. There's always the opportunity to get out to either see a trail or a bike path or see a place that you haven't seen before by foot.
Or that you weren't expecting to find.
When I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years, it took me 3 years to realize that there were actual mountains 20 minutes from the city. The trails that are in the city, you're like, oh, this is great. Wow, look, I found a hiking trail. And then you start realizing, oh, there's mountains just over there. And then in those mountains, you realize there's another mountain range even further out, and it's even bigger and more majestic. So sometimes it just takes exploring those unknown places to find surprises. And yeah, Kim and I got up to that this weekend. We tried a trail that we'd never tried. We got to a place we'd never seen on a day that we weren't expecting to do anything like that. And it was a reward step after step.
Yeah,
and,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. We encourage everyone to go give that a shot.
And I also feel like if you're in a bit of a rut, or you feel like a little bored with your training, like try and encourage yourself to get out and do that. Like maybe take a friend with you or something like that. And like Ethan said, like yesterday, it just felt like reward after reward, and it was really nice.
Yeah, and we focused less on the actual distance and time, and we're looking at wildflowers and trying to identify the plant species, because we were seeing things we had never seen before. So we were trying to do detective work while we were out there taking photos and doing research. It was really unique. It was a unique day that required no stress and no worrying about what we were trying to do for our training schedule or anything like that. I mean, in the end, we ended up getting plenty of miles, plenty of vert, and we just took our time, and it was great. It's fantastic. Love those stories. So yeah, if you wanted to go visit our Patreon Facebook page, it's quite active. We have hundreds of really amazing people, and the community there is super tight. All you got to do is just join our Patreon page at the $3 level, and you get access to that. It's great. Okay, moving on. More viewer mail and stories. This one comes to us from Alex. Hey, Ethan and Kim. Hey, Alex. I just want to give a huge shout out to my inspiration of late, and that is to my wife, Kelsey. She was recently sidelined with a DNF at one of her most recent marathons, and it was a big blow. She had been working for the past 8 months trying to get to the finish. Unfortunately, it was not her day. That DNF was a huge side rail. Fortunately, she did not give up. She's been hitting it hard on the core workouts, building up her physical fitness, has been injury-free, and recently, over the 4th of July weekend, she pushed her way out of her comfort zone, and we climbed one of the mountains here at home. Sure, it wasn't a marathon finish, but it was 15 and a half-ish adventure miles, happy and injury-free. She is such an example. She is such an amazing example to our 2 girls at home, and I couldn't be more inspired and proud of her. And he sent a picture. I didn't actually pull it down, but it is a beautiful photo of her climbing a huge mountain in Utah. Just unbelievable. So the fact that, unfortunately, a DNF at a marathon that sucks. DNFs are never great. Both Kim and I know that fully well, as do our viewers. But the fact that she was able to take that training and take that experience and put it to like a 15 and a half mile adventure run up a mountain, that will trump a marathon any day. Like, marathons are difficult for sure, but getting up to the top of a peak, that's amazing.
Yeah,
it takes
for
a
sure.
whole different level of work and fitness. So congratulations. That's awesome. This one comes to us from Victoria. Hey guys, I saw your call for viewer mail and thought I'd share a recent event of mine. I've been road running for years, but never thought I was good enough to do races. And I'd recently started reading about trail running, but also thought I wasn't good enough for running trails either. After recovering from my second femoral. Thank you. After recovering from my second femoral stress fracture earlier this year, I thought, why not go out and race and run on trails? I'd been watching your videos and recently read The Happy Runner by the Roaches and decided I needed to just go out and break through my anxiety. So I signed up for a local trail race and placed second for female. Wow. It was my first time on a trail, first time racing, and I didn't do too shabby.
Yeah,
no,
that's not too
that's
shabby.
not too shabby at all. I loved it, and I have signed up for a couple more longer trail races later this season. I'm definitely glad I broke out of my comfort zone. Thanks for continuing to make awesome videos. Victoria.
Wow.
Not bad.
Not too shabby.
I mean, when I got into trail running, I was first place.
You
in
just kept
everything.
winning.
Just kept winning. I finally was like, I can't win anymore. This is just no fun. That's amazing, Victoria. What an accomplishment. Yes, I'd say you're doing quite well in trail running. So hope to hear from you in the future to see what else you get up to, and let us know what your challenges and stuff like that you choose to be in the future. We are excited to follow along. All right, next story comes to us from our good buddy Brian Goldman, also a longtime supporter. Hi, Ethan, Kim, and Gus. I have wanted to write for a few viewer mail now for years, but never felt like I had something worthy of sharing. Today, I have 2 things. The first thing is that after battling plantar fasciitis for 2 years, and again, is it fasciitis? Is it fasciitis? I always used to say fasciitis, and then a doctor was like, oh, it's fasciitis. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. Okay, anyways. The first thing is that after battling plantar fasciitis, is how I'm going to say it.
That's actually fasciitis.
Fasciitis for 2 years. I tried everything over the 2 years and nothing worked. Night splints, ice bottle rolling, ART, cortisone shots, and everything else that I was suggested just didn't work. I took 4 months off in January with no physical activity at all, taking time off of running, but still cross-training didn't seem to work in the past. I'm happy to report that as of May 1st, I am 100% pain-free. I wanted to share this to give other members of the GR audience the assurance that if you try a remedy and it doesn't work, keep trying. There is light at the end of the tunnel, even though at times I thought I would never get better. The main reason that I wanted to write this is that I have been volunteering quite a lot in the last year, especially since I wasn't able to run. I have so much fun every time I go out there and give back. I strongly recommend to everyone to get out there and volunteer. You'll get more out of it than the runners, I will promise you that. This last weekend, I got the privilege to perform trail maintenance on the Western States Trail between Robinson's Flat and Duncan Creek with a bunch of awesome people. We worked hard and camped together overnight, so there was plenty of socializing as well. I wanted to let people know that if you ever have the opportunity to work on your local trails, you should definitely jump on it. Ask your local race directors because many of them have trail maintenance requirements as part of their permitting for the races. For what I was told this weekend. This last weekend was one of the most serene in years, and it was mainly due to gaining a strong connection to the trails. I had a blast meeting you at Forest Hill during states this year and can't wait to see all of the GR crew at Javelina 100 this year as well. Thank you for providing the space for all of these amazing runners to get together. I have made lifelong friends and really feel that this is my family. Big love from Northern California. It's awesome. And it was great to meet you too, Brian, at Forest Hill this year at Western States. Brian came up to us and introduced himself wearing that bright GR shirt as well. Couldn't miss it. It was awesome. But Brian giving back to the trails is a testament that volunteering and giving your time back to the mountains, back to the trails, back to the communities that we participate in every single day, every single week and month, it is rewarding. Kim and I have volunteered at races, or even, if you're crewing or supporting other runners and that sort of thing, it is so rewarding and just so amazing to be able to donate some of your time to this big, greater cause. It is so easy to just go run and in essence, take, race and get your reward at the end and do all that sort of thing. And what's great about trail running is that there is this other side to it. There's that side where you get to volunteer, where you get to support others. You get to watch them come through an aid station, refill their bottles or give them high fives, whatever it is. And it is one of the coolest, most rewarding feelings that you'll get. So we can't say enough positive things about volunteering. And in this case, trail work. So Brian's right. If you are thinking, hey, I run on this mountain or in this park all the time, I'd really like to give back just one day. I would like to just give back a couple hours of my time to these trails. I guarantee you that the park system, race directors, other organizations in your communities will have opportunities to volunteer. A lot of the times it's not all back-breaking work either. It's not all, pickaxes and pulling rocks out and stuff. Sometimes it's just saving plants. Either like you had a big volunteer day where you were pulling out blackberries, like invasive blackberries for a long time because they were overtaking some of the local plant life and stuff like that. But then we both had like really hard days of like digging and building trails and rocks. And
the fun thing about my blackberry day, that kind of sparked my interest in learning about native plants here, which I'm like on a big kick right now.
I love it. Like Kim's recent kick with native plants is awesome. We'll be on the trail and be like, oh, look at this cool flower. And she's like, that is a trillium. And the trillium only grows at a certain elevation, at certain temperatures. And I'm like, damn, I married a botanist.
Botanist wannabe.
What's going on?
You mentioned Brian's GRGR shirt, and Spare Tire Runner Club in the chat room wants to know, when will GRGR info be coming out?
A great question from our chat room. Very soon. GRGR 2019 will take place in October. I believe it is October 6th because that is the same day as the Chicago Marathon. Sunday, October 6th. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat room, but that is that day. And it will be the same format as years previous with the 2 hours. You get to pick your route, you get to pick your location, but it just needs to take place on that day, those 24 hours. Registration will open up this month. So July, we're looking at opening up registration, and we're going to keep it open a little bit longer than years past, just because in years past, with all the merch and everything that we have to create, the registration period is quite short. So we'll try to keep it open as long as possible, a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks. And then we'll be able to get everyone their sweet gear this year and plenty of time in preparation for October's big GRGR. We just basically wrapped up Tiger Claw, put the lid on that for at least until we start planning next year. So GRGR is now everything. So stand by, everybody. Registration is going to open up quite soon. We're very excited. Patreon supporters will get first dibs.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned Tiger Claw really briefly there. Daniel in chat room wants to know if we've posted the extra Tiger Claw shirts yet. You guys, this is on me. I have not done it yet.
We were gone for a week. We were literally out of the house for a week. We couldn't, but Kim is going to do that.
I am going to do my best to get it done by the end of this week. Get them up and posted by the end of this week.
And runners and Patreon supporters get first dibs on those as well.
Yep. Exactly.
So consider all levels of Patreon. So even if it's $1, $3 or whatever, you get access to those t-shirt sales first. And they all got to go. So yeah.
Even this one. Oh, I thought you were wearing it.
No,
out of the corner of my eye, it looked like Tiger Claw. But yeah, but we're selling this one too.
Okay, great. It stinks. And I believe we still have GRGR t-shirts up. Or do we pull those?
Those should be pulled.
I probably did pull those. Oh, I did pull those.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like 3
They
left
should be
in the- yeah,
pulled.
we donated them. All right, moving on. This viewer mail comes to us from Andrew. And I believe, I wasn't sure if this one had the photo. I don't think this one did have the photo. Let me just confirm before I read it. No, it does not. Okay. From Andrew. Hey, Ethan and Kim, I recently finished my first ultra, the North Fork 50K outside of Denver, Colorado. I previously ran some road marathons, but after 2015, when I finished the Colfax Marathon, the first thing I told my wife was, I am never doing this again. Well, after we had 2 kids and I stopped being as healthy as I should have been, I was given a copy of Born to Run last summer and decided I'd get back to running. I thought the ultras from Born to Run were absurd, but started to listen to podcasts like yours and others, and then found the videos that you guys do. I began to consider a 50K and announced for the first time to a group of friends and my wife that I was going to run one in the spring. My wife was awesome and supported me, with eyes rolled sometimes, and I even found some trails to take my daughter Rory with me on in the bob stroller for some. I got my school psych to sign up. I got my school psych, I'm guessing maybe psych department, to sign up for the 50K with me. No, I got my school. What is that? What would that be? I got my school psych, whatever that person is, to sign up for the 50K with me. I'm a school principal and train. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we had someone he was training with. I'm so sorry. I'm the school principal and trained, got injured, trained, and got injured and trained, basically all in a row. All the while, I would tune into Ginger Run Alive and listen to podcasts about running to keep me going. June 1st, 2 weeks before we moved from Denver to the Twin Cities, I finished the 50K in a little over 6 hours and 30 minutes. I already have the Checking at 50K sign-up date on my calendar, and so does my old school psych. What is that term? My old school psych? Like friend or something? I'm missing the reference. I'm guessing it's a friend or coworker or something like that.
Yeah, it must be.
Or a psychologist, maybe.
Psychologist or psychiatrist that works at the school, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I wish we had that when I was growing up. Getting back into running has helped me. Sorry, total silent.
Oh.
Getting back into running has helped me get back in shape, eat better, and be a better spouse and parent. Thanks for all you do, Andrew.
So just to clear things up, there's a couple people that have chimed in. Mike says some schools have psychiatrists on psych, and Rec Runner says school psych would be the school psychologist.
Cool.
Definitely not something that this rural, small town Canada person.
Sorry. I'm so sorry when I read that, and I was like, what? I think the sentence is wrong. He was right. I just didn't grow up with that.
I was just lucky to have like a basketball coach that was also my librarian and French teacher.
We had school counselors. They weren't called psychs, and the counselors were like, at least when I was growing up, they were very much like, are you being bullied? Yes. You should go to your bully and tell him to stop bullying you. You know, like it was very much not great advice. I don't even think they had degrees in school counseling. It was more like a parent who didn't have a day job, so they would come and help the kids out. So learning that schools have that now, I'm like,
yeah, it sounds like it's.
That's great.
Yeah, there's a few other people chiming in too, so it sounds like it's a thing.
Hopefully it's a thing. All right, so I think this next one comes to us from Aaron. He sent us some photos as well, and I'll share the photos after I read the story. But I believe it is a multi-email part because I think he had a follow-up, but I'll read them in order as he sent them. So this comes to us from Aaron. Hey, just thought I'd share my story with you. The attached pictures probably explain the story fairly well, but I've gone from 280 pounds to 160 pounds, most of which has been in the last 18 months. I started running to lose weight, and in January 2017, I could just about manage 12.5-minute miles or 1.5 miles. This weekend, I ran a 53K ultra with around 5,000 feet of gain in sub 6 hours and came in 5th. In reality, running has probably saved me from an early grave. I just turned 42 and want to let as many people know as possible that even if you think you're too overweight or too old to get back to a reasonable fitness level, anything is possible if you want it enough. Happy to share more. Here's that. That's the short version. So I'll show you this photo. This is Aaron before and after, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I kind of like the theme of a few viewer mails that we've gotten tonight of, it's never too late to change your lifestyle.
Yeah. So I will. I'll show that photo again, but I'm going to read the second email, which I think goes into a little bit more in depth as to sort of his story. He goes, "Hey, Ethan, I figured the whole story would actually make some sense. When I was younger, I was an okay-ish runner, vice captain of the school cross-country team from time to time, and occasionally winning small races. As I got older, though, other things took priority, and at around 18 years old, I pretty much stopped running or exercising altogether. Fast forward 20 years, and with my 40th birthday fast approaching, I decided it was time for a change. I set myself a lofty goal of running 40 miles for my 40th. To make it a real challenge, I picked Ultra Trail Cape Town 65K, which just happened to be 3 days before my 40th. Training went well, and I lost around 70 pounds, but unfortunately, a badly rolled ankle a month or so before, and a bad bout of plantar fasciitis
Fasciitis.
forced me to pull out at 43K. I enjoyed the rest of the holiday and then got back to work. Training went really well, despite a few niggling injuries, and this weekend, I managed a 53K race with 5,000 feet of gain in sub 6 hours and finished 5th.
That's fast.
It's very fast. It's very good. I've got an 82 miler in 6 weeks and in 6 weeks time, and I'm also heading back to Cape Town in November for the 100K because that's what you do when you fail at 65K, right? Anyway, short story is no matter how old, overweight, etc. you may be, you won't know what's possible unless you try. Very excited for what's to come in the next few years. P.S. Happy for you to use any of the pics. And so, yeah, I'll just show this pic again. Before and after. Like, just incredible. He was able to do a sub 6 hour 53K with 5,000 feet of gain, place 5th. And he's training for Cape Town 100K in November.
That's so fast.
So fast.
That's an hour faster than my 50K PR.
I love it. So I really appreciate you sharing that story, Aaron. Like, those are the stories that I love. We have lots of friends that have gone through very similar things. Like Brian Sands, a regular viewer as well, has lost a lot of weight and he's on his journey and inspiring people. Aaron, you are one of those as well, inspiring people with this sort of journey. So please keep doing it and keep us posted because Cape Town in November, that's supposed to be a fantastic race. It's beautiful. I can't wait to hear how that goes. So excited. Let me move on to the next one. Let's see, where was it?
Do you want to
go ahead?
Do you want to take a question?
Yeah. What we got? Well, I'll pull up the next one.
Lori Hall in the chat room has a great question for both of us, actually. I mean, she asked it to Ethan, but I think it's something that both of us have dealt with. Lori asked, how do you get through a run when you're dealing with high anxiety? I had an attack on my simple run this morning, couldn't breathe, and it scared and surprised me because everything is awesome. So it's something that both of us have come across during runs that seem insignificant or regular or super normal.
Yep.
And just kind of like, as Lori expressed, it kind of seems like a surprise.
It never warns you.
No.
Because if it did, I think things would be a little bit easier if it told you when it was going to happen.
And it doesn't seem to happen, at least for me anyways. It doesn't happen when I'm like on the super thin cliff run where, like
completely.
It's like it happens when I'm running this normal route that I run all the time. And it happens. And I think similar to you, like I think recently on a fairly straightforward 20-mile run with friends, it snuck up on you too.
Yeah, and let us preface by saying we're not doctors, we're not psychologists, we're not going to be able to give cures or any of that sort of thing. We can talk about it openly on the show, which we have in the past. I just want to always preface by saying that we're not licensed professionals, I think is a better way to put that. That being said, it happened to me recently on a we chose a 20-mile route that was easy. Relatively speaking, like there's not a lot of vertical gain. We had everything under control. We basically controlled all of the circumstances only because we wanted it to be in a new area. We wanted to try new trails. And a part of me is like, anytime I go on a long adventure or anything over 16, 17, 18 miles in a new place, I like to just sort of control as many factors as possible to diminish the possibility of an anxiety issue coming up. And that's been, in the last couple of years, it's been difficult to sort of control all that. I've been open with my dealing with anxiety since I was a kid. It's an ongoing thing. And in this case, I was like shocked at how overwhelmed I was by my anxiety in a situation. I was like, there are so many great things going on and there's plenty of escape routes and like, I'm not in any danger. And the route that we're taking is very easy. My brain was consciously working through those. Everything is fine. Why are you feeling this way scenarios? Like,
right.
I was basically able to see myself having the anxiety attack and think, why the hell are you having an anxiety attack right
Right.
now? And it made no sense because the symptoms, the physiological symptoms were still occurring. High heart rate, shortness of breath, dizziness.
And it's cyclical. So it
You
like
start to
one
worry.
thing makes the next thing feel worse, and that thing makes the other thing feel worse, and then you're
Yes.
back at point A again, and
Yeah.
you're just doing this.
You're like, well, now I'm worried about anxiety. So now I'm anxious about
Yes.
anxiety. And now I'm feeling anxiety. So now
Yeah.
I'm anxious about that. Why is that happening? It's a cycle and it sucks. And that's, I just want to say as best as possible that is normal for those who have anxiety and even people who don't have anxiety.
Mhm.
You know, we have friends that don't have anxiety regularly and have described these things that happen to them. I'm like, yeah, that's an anxiety attack. You know, I get that regularly. And Kim gets that from time to time. And, there are a myriad of factors that can come into play here. And for me, it's always about creating an environment where you can control as much as possible. And if for some reason things start to sort of overtake, uh, to to allow yourself grace in getting through it and feeling it, it's okay. It's really difficult sometimes to feel the way you do during an anxiety attack because it sucks. It
Mhm.
sucks. And then to also sort of allow yourself to feel it because it's a psychological thing. It's like it's just happening. You're not gonna get hurt. Like nothing's really bad is gonna happen. So you gotta allow yourself a little bit of grace and patience just to get through it. Um,
And something my mom always told me, and I've passed this advice or this, I guess, advice on to Ethan is like when you're in the midst of something like an anxiety attack or panic, my mom would always just tell me, like, you just ride the wave because
Mhm.
you'll ride it out. Like, you know, it's going to feel bad, but then it will eventually get better.
and the waves can come and come and come.
Right.
You know, like it's not just one wave sometimes. Like for me on this 20-mile run, it felt like a wave would come and I'd ride it and it would go away and I'd have about 5 to 10 minutes of like, okay, I'm fine. And then it would come back. And then literally by mile 13, I the light switch had turned on and I was like, I'm fine. And I had like conquered it. And then for the rest of the run, I was like super confident and like, let's go further. Let's go up this climb and let's do this. Um,
But also frustrated at how the first
so
half of the run
frustrated.
played out.
That run left me so uneasy and frustrated that the reason I share this is to relate because it's hard to talk about with people who maybe can't relate or haven't dealt with those sorts of things. But just know that you're not alone in what you feel and how you feel it. There are others out there that feel anxiety on that level, sometimes greater. You know, like there's all varying degrees of it. Just be patient with yourself because there could be and again a myriad of triggers. Whether I know, for example, Lori, like they moved, right? So there could be all these like some sort of life stresses that you may
Mhm.
not be able to even pinpoint at this point. Same with me. Like we may be dealing with like maybe it was the stress of Western states was coming to me about a month and a half in advance, and I just didn't realize that that's what was actually causing some of those things to appear. Um, Ultimately, my best advice is to find someone you can talk to about it. 100%. Um, I'm still working through that process myself, trying to figure out like do I want to? Who do I want to talk to about it? And all that sort of stuff. But I just know 100% that it's by far the best option because at least you have someone who can. I'm primarily talking about a professional, whether it's a psychologist or a therapist, just someone you can talk to about these feelings, the things that happen, and they can help you identify. Yes, this is common. This is not anything to be worried about.
Because a lot
And
of people do feel alone or they feel like
yeah,
what they're going through, nobody else has gone through. Um, there's also another thing that we've tried using in the past,
in
and
addition
you
to alcohol,
actually, that was bad advice.
it was don't.
In addition
That's bad
to
advice.
giving yourself grace, talking to people, talking to someone, leaning on the people around you. Um, a long time ago, uh, we were out on a regular run and I started feeling super panicked and anxious to the point where I had to undo my hydration pack 'cause I just felt like I couldn't breathe anymore.
Right.
This is like when we first moved up here. And you had given me the great advice of like, let's just calm down, like just slow down for a second. Let's stand still and touch the trees.
Touch something.
Like touch something in nature that you're around.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of a little trick that we kind of use to feel like we're grounding ourselves a little bit. So like
So for me, it was I helped Kim a lot with this. I don't know where I heard it or where I read it. Someone told me, like, yeah, what you want to do is try to engage your other senses, right? So a lot of the time, advice is you breathe, just breathe, stop, breathe deeply, and sort of like center yourself, get in touch with what's going on. So you're feeling the breath, large breaths. It's like the best way to sort of calm yourself and get back to center. And in addition, try to pinpoint something in your environment that you can hear, that you can touch, that you can smell. And for me, touch is the easiest, especially when you're on a trail run, because you can touch a tree, you can touch some bark, you can touch a fern
or a cool rock
or a cool
something
rock.
like
Like,
that.
get something tactile, touch it and feel it, and start to dissect what you're touching and feeling in your mind. It's an old actor trick as well, where you can study a scene, and you can study a small part of a scene, and you can pick apart an environment if you're creating it on stage in your mind. You can pick a small piece of the environment and really begin to sort of like dissect it. So on this 20-mile run, I grabbed a stick. I grabbed a tiny little twig. I actually have it here in my office because that stick got me through the day. It sounds stupid and childish, but at the same point, it worked for
You
me
ran with that stick for hours.
for hours. And then eventually, when I was feeling fine, I stuck it in my hat, and people started like, "Cool hat!" And it was really funny. But the stick, I was able to just sort of like feel the bark and feel the little elements where additional twigs had broken off of it, and the bark was peeling off, and there was something about feeling something between my fingertips that distracted the chaos and gave me a pinpoint focus on something. Um, I told Kim to do that same thing recently, and it seemed to work. I don't know what happened to your stick.
Oh, it's in the car.
Okay. Mine's mounted and coated in bronze at this point. But that could be something you can try too. There are, again, a lot of ways that people can coach and help you through anxiety and attacks and stuff like that, especially if they come randomly and in the middle of nowhere and it can be overwhelming. There are steps that you can do to help sort of mitigate that. This was the one thing that I have just sort of been drawn to because it works for me from time to time. Doesn't always work, but
Right.
on that 20-mile run, it worked.
Yeah.
It kept me at least a little bit focused.
Our friend Maria is in the chat room. Maria said it's such a scary feeling. And she says, I know when I don't get enough sleep, too little calories or too much caffeine, it's really triggering.
Yeah,
and
there's
then
all
Maria
sorts of
also goes on
things.
to say, if you knew what went on in my head, you'd feel totally better about yourself.
It's Maria and I and Kim, and we've all had conversations and stuff. And Maria's actually going to be on the show here soon, which I'm excited about. But
Yeah.
it is the more I'm open, the more I talk about it, it helps. And Lori, I just want to say thank you for opening up and asking about it, because it can be really difficult to announce to the world that you deal with anxiety. I still deal with the not the backlash, but the worry that it affects the way people look at me. It sucks to feel like friends might look at you different. No one does. No one does.
Yeah.
People are, to be honest, people are more worried about themselves than they are anything else, right? So it's
Right. And it's also alarming when it happens, like it sounded like it happened to you this morning. Like it
Yeah.
feels jolting when it
Yes.
happens like that. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, well, why? So.
Yeah, and therapy could help you figure out if there is a specific why. There are also a number of triggers, altitude, caffeine, diet, sleep, those sorts of like physical things that you can control. And sometimes it could just be it could be just like something in the air that you smelled that triggered some weird memory that brought up some weird anxiety that you just don't know about yet. So again, Lori, thanks for sharing, because that's honestly one of the first steps in just being cool about it and being better about it and allowing yourself to sort of heal. And I felt pretty off balance after that 20-mile run for weeks. I still think about that run because it's still pretty fresh. So give yourself time, be gracious with yourself, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. A lot of people deal with it. A lot of people deal with it.
Yeah.
You're really surprised. Moving on. This one comes to us from Leslie. Hi, Ethan and Kim. First, I want to say thank you for creating this community. It helps me keep motivated, and I love hearing other people's running stories and learning from the pros. 4 years ago, I had a stroke after a freak accident working out in the gym while I was training for my first half marathon. It was terrifying. I couldn't walk, see, or speak, and it felt like someone had hit me on the head with a hammer. All of this was the week before my daughter's first birthday. I kept holding on to that thought of being at her birthday the entire time. I managed to regain movement to the right side of my body by the next day. By that night, I was back to walking. I was so lucky to walk out of the hospital after only 3 days with no lasting problems. The only thing I still suffer from is crazy anxiety, and running helps me with that. While I was being released from the hospital, I asked my doctor if I would still be able to run. He replied with laughing at me and saying, "Why would you want to?" I was heartbroken. So I did what any stubborn runner would do, found a new doctor. My current neurologist was so supportive of me continuing to run. His reply to my question was, "Run as far as you want." I took this to heart. I finished my first half marathon 10 months later. After that, I checked off many more half and full marathons before I crossed over to the dark side and found the trail and ultra world. Running my first ultramarathon felt life-changing. I realized that I could push past the low points and make it out on the other side. That feeling was a huge breakthrough with my anxiety. Today, I have a new goal of finishing 100 miles. I DNF'd my first attempt just weeks ago. It's still a little raw, but I'm going to keep pushing. It's all a part of the adventure, right? Thank you guys for keeping it real and sharing part of your running life with the rest of us. Really hope we can make it over for Tiger Claw next run. Please tell Gus hi from my kids. They love him when he makes an appearance on the show. Thanks for everything, Leslie. That one timed perfectly here just with our conversation. Leslie, this is great. Again, you got to keep us posted on the 100-mile journey. I have no doubt that you'll get it done. I like stories like that because, when I started talking about the anxiety side of things early in my videos and never really like full on came out and said that I deal with anxiety regularly, but the dealing with doubt from the Squamish 50/50, and amongst the evergreens and sort of dealing with that side of it, people really relate to that. And I think that's great. And seeing people like Leslie do these incredible things it's badass. I love it. This one's a fun one. I have a picture to show with it as well. This comes to us from Amy. Mount Marathon, 4th of July, Seward, Alaska. Red, white, and blood. The hill has no mercy. It served up a hot and dusty journey for us racers this year, and its razor-sharp cliffs are just that. Razor freaking sharp. The doctors were impressed by how clean my cut was. 4 stitches and a beer in my hand later, I'm scheming for tackling 2020. I'm astounded time and time again by Alaskan women's sheer grit and tenacity. A seasoned trail runner myself, I was amazed as they blew past me on the loose, dangerous downhill confidently and comfortably. Absolute beasts. This is a total bucket list race. Get your name in the lottery now. And this is a photo of Amy at the finish line. I have photos of the gash that she got on her knee. I won't show them only because they're a bit grisly.
It could be children watching. You could be eating dinner.
Yeah, but trust me, it's a good, her knee, nice good slice, wide open. And she came to the finish line, just blood down her leg. It's awesome.
There's something so intriguing about that race to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm a little reckless downhill runner. And there's a part of me like, yeah, I'd be great at that. I would just let go and be like, well, whatever happens, happens. But then there's a part of me that it terrifies me.
There were some video clips of Max King, who won. Congratulations, Max. Come on now. There's some video clips of him running down that mountain, and a videographer's kind of following him. And you look at that and go, oh, I could do that. I could go that pace. It never shows you how, I know this as a videographer, it'll never show you how steep. It'll never show you how slippery and how confidently these runners are taking these descents.
Right.
Mount Marathon by far is one of those races I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that someday. And it's also one of those races I will never fucking do that race.
I just really want to sit on a bucket at the finish line, get hosed off. Because they all look so cool.
So you literally would be like, you'd start the race, duck off into the crowd, and then finish the race, and sit on a bucket and get sprayed. You just want to sit on a bucket and get sprayed. We could do that in the backyard.
They just all look really cool. Like they've been through some shit.
Okay, we'll make this happen. We'll do something. We'll do something where you go through some shit, and then I'll spray you with a hose on a bucket.
All right.
Sounds good.
Moving on.
This one comes to us from Michael. Hi, Ethan. Where do I start? On my birthday in May of last year, I stepped on the scales to see if I was 100 to see I was 100.1 kilograms, a weight I never thought I would associate with myself. In hindsight, I was miserable in my job and I was eating and drinking to excess to cope. Never thought I would weigh over 100 kilograms, too, irrespective of how much I ate, drank, or how sedentary I was. I'd been a runner throughout my teenage years, and in my late teens, I ran mainly as self medication to help my wobbly mental health. But at that point, I hadn't run with any serious intent for several years. I started to research running gear and then started to procrastinate by watching YouTube videos on running, telling myself it was still research. Well, for once, procrastination paid off. I came across your Squamish 50/50 race video. As soon as it ended, I went straight out and bought all my running essentials, came back home, set up a training plan, entered myself for the Brisbane Half Marathon, booted up, and went for my first run in 3 years. That August, I ran my first half in 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 12 seconds. I wore my medal for the whole weekend. It was the first time in a long time that I'd set a goal, worked consistently towards it, and then achieved what I set out to achieve. It made me realize I could do that in other areas of my life as well. Towards the end of last year, a few injuries from hauling my chubby ass around started to crop up, and I barely ran for the last 3 months of the year. The demons in my head returned. Food and booze went back up. My weight also went back up. I left my job at the end of I left my job at the end of last year. I called it a sabbatical. They called it voluntary redundancy. Either way, it was an opportunity to reset. I plan to run the Gold Coast Marathon this year, besting my 5K, 10K, and half marathon times along the way. I also plan to set myself up as a private guitar teacher after realizing that I needed a sense of purpose to my work and missing that sense of fulfillment playing and teaching music gave me. I had goals. I needed to work consistently towards them, and hopefully, I'd achieve them. I ran the Gold Coast Marathon yesterday. There were setbacks in training, all in May. I went on a holiday for the first week where I picked up an Achilles soreness from walking around in boots all day for 7 days. After the holiday and the injury going away, I then had the flu. May was basically a complete write off. In fact, the furthest I'd run in training was 32K. I originally wanted to run the marathon in 4:15, but readjusted to just finishing the damn thing. My goals were finish without walking, and finish under 5 hours. I stuck with the 5 hour pacer until 32K, where they both nipped to the lose, leaving me in my crappy sense of pacing to myself. I ended up finishing in 4:44:53. My guitar teaching business is set to go live this week, too, and I already have a half dozen students from word of mouth. Oh, and weight, too. I'm down to 80 kilograms now. I'll attach a photo. On the left is just after my half, and on the right is yesterday. I'll show this photo now. My brother noted I no longer look like a fridge on legs, and there's a massive chance that had I not seen that Squamish 50/50 race video, I've just procrastinated myself out of taking any action. So thank you, seriously, from the absolute bottom of my heart for helping me change my life for the better in running, in vocation, in spirit, in being. And I know I'm not remotely alone in my thanks. So keep up what you do. We're all behind you. Cheers, mate. Uh I just I'm pretty emotional right now reading that. So Michael, I hadn't read through the entire email. I was like, oh, I read halfway through and I was like, this is amazing. I want to pull the photo and I'll be honest. When I set out to create this channel, I didn't think it would be much. I thought it would be a review channel and an opportunity to test gear and try gear, and that was kind of the ultimate goal, and to record myself running marathons and be able to show myself in the future, hey, look what I did.
You did. Yeah.
And when I create videos like the Squamish 50/50 video and other ones, I I didn't have any idea that people would use those as inspiration to change their life. That's crazy. So to read stuff like this, and lots of people have reached out and said similar things, but this was a real special one. I really appreciate the words, Michael, very, very much. And just seeing you and your journey here, again, on the left and on the right, is a testament that it's not the video, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of you. It's all of the people who are out there setting goals and just sticking with it. Just sticking with it. A video might be a trigger, but that was already in you. You just needed an excuse. And this is a testament to the work you put into it, Michael. This is all you. And to anyone else who's out there crushing their own goals and fulfilling their own dreams and changing their lives and whatever and wherever you are on your journey, it's you. You are the strong ones. So keep it up, because I'm inspired
Mm-hmm.
every time I read something like this. Oh man, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get emotional this time. We're gonna end the episode there. We're at about an hour. I just want to take a quick second to thank each and every one of you who submitted stories. There are a lot that I did not get to today that were submitted today that are fantastic and beautiful and powerful. So I will be reading those on our next viewer mail. We're gonna make sure that we hold on to those, because there were definitely a couple that I was like, we got to read this.
And you guys can submit your viewer mail stories at any point as well. We'll just collect them. For our next show.
Yeah, and if you'd like to submit your story for a future episode, you just got to go, just email it to thegingerrunner@gmail.com with the subject line viewer mail, and it will automatically filter into that folder, and I'll be able to scan through them and sort of see the different stories. So before we go, Kim, what's going on in the chat room? Anyone saying hi?
Yeah, a lot of people just kind of expressing their love for the stories that are happening in the community that you've kind of built. People are grateful. We are more grateful. We tell you guys this often, but we really truly mean it, that anytime you guys tell us, oh, like, you inspire us, or we love this community, like, we feel that like a million-fold right back at you guys. We really do.
I know. We can say it every day, every Monday, every review, whatever. We can say how inspired we are by you, and it will never do it justice. You have no idea how often Kim and I talk about this community and the people that are a part of it, those who have shared their stories with us, those who have not yet shared their stories with us. And it's incredible how powerful this community is.
And kind. And just
kind. You guys have changed our lives.
Yeah.
So we're very, very thankful for each and every one of you. This whole episode, usually these viewer mail and inspiration episodes are a celebration of our community. We have been doing a new segment at the end of every episode called GR Crew Member of the Week. We'll honorarily give those whose stories we shared tonight, they are Crew Members of the Week, by sharing their stories. But Kim has pulled aside our GR Crew Member of this week. Basically, we'd like to sort of recognize people and their accomplishments from our community. Who do we got this week?
Yeah, so this week's GR Crew Member of the Week is Mats Vermeuren. Mats ran a 55-kilometer race at the Festival Trail Samoy in south of Belgium. Matt says, my A goal was sub 7 hours, but given the heat, I'm very happy with my time of 7:30. Several of my friends were also running various distances at the same event, and we made a pretty great weekend out of it, which I think is like a lesson for everyone.
Yes.
That regardless of what your goals are, if you have your running friends, family, you just make the most of it.
Altering expectations, right? Just making the best of the situation that you're given and where you are, and smiling throughout the whole process. Congratulations, Mats. Love that. So Mats is our GR Crew Member of the Week, and we'll continue to highlight members of the community each and every week here on Ginger Runner Live. Fantastic episode tonight. Thank you, everyone, for submitting your stories. Again, we have a lot that we did not read tonight, and we will be sharing those on another episode. I say this every time. I'd like to do another viewer mail sooner than later. Hopefully it's not another couple of months, but I'm like shooting for one in August for sure, because some of the stories today that we didn't get to share were just as powerful. So thank you, everyone, so much. We hope you're getting out there, training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest. I know I am. Trying to think of if I'm missing anything. GR registration will happen soon. Follow along, and if you're on the Patreon side of things, we will do a quick post show.
And Patreon crew or GR crew live.
Oh yeah, we'll mention that in the after show. So if you are a Patreon supporter, we'll see you over in the after show here in just a couple of seconds, and we'll tell you when the GR Crew Live will happen this month. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Ginger